Welcome to the kickoff of this weekend's programming from PWR, brought to you by the PWRshow.com, where you can watch all of your episodes on demand for free. I'm Julie Smith. Today on Feedback Friday, we take a look at the interesting booking of this past Monday Night Raw. And we also have our responses to your comments on our recent episodes, which you certainly don't want to miss. It's time for Feedback Friday for May 20th, 2016, here on the channels of PWR.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Feedback Friday for Friday, May 20th, 2016. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And David, how the heck are ya?
I survived a week.
You survived a week?
I did.
Did you not expect to?
Well, it was a rough month. The whole week was rough. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of shenanigans.
What made it rough?
It was a stressful week.
Why? I'm perplexed. I'd like to help you. I'd like to counsel you through this.
So many people that think they are experts, and they want to argue.
Like us?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, we are experts.
We get paid big money to do this.
Is that right? Buku bucks?
Yes.
Skrillas? Benjamins?
What's a Skrillas?
Skrilla? That's money.
I thought
Not to be
that was a
confused with.
DJ.
No, that's Skrillex.
Oh.
Just, dip low a little bit. And
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's get right to this week's top story, David here. And I'd like you to listen carefully because, yesterday you were a little confused and a little distracted on the podcast, Double D podcast, when the lights kept going out.
Well,
when the lights go out, well, the things you were saying is what was causing it. That was the equivalent of a lightning strike indoors.
I apologized. I felt bad for the stuff I said.
You didn't, and you don't.
Of course I do.
Yeah, sure. Folks, Monday night on WWE Raw, the show was headlined by, I really don't know what, to be honest with you, but the show did end with a contract signing between Natty and Charlotte for their matchup at Extreme Rules on Sunday. What is with Natty's perma-smile? I finally figured out that's what bothers me about her. She's always smiling. Even when she's angry, like even in the graphic on Raw, I think they airbrushed her smile away and made her look a little frowny.
I'm happy for Natty because she's been around for a while.
She deserves this, absolutely.
She deserves a good run. She's talented. She's a legit female lady wrestler.
She is. And while I thought that segment was good, I found the placement on the show to be a bit odd.
Why? Flair country?
Well, it would seem that the big story going into Extreme Rules, David Hero, is the battle between AJ Styles and Roman Reigns.
But can we be honest?
Sure.
The last few weeks...
Got you in trouble yesterday.
The third hour, the numbers have dropped.
Who cares? Those numbers don't mean a damn thing. We'll give you those numbers tomorrow on Prime Time. They don't mean anything.
Lose 100,000 viewers, you want to get those people to watch what your main event's going to be.
So this is what should have done it?
No, you're missing my point. You're not listening. I said that the third hour, the numbers drop. So
I heard that.
The girls last.
In the third hour?
Sure.
Because that's going to draw more?
No. More people are watching the second hour, which is where Reigns and AJ
But you want them to watch all 3 hours.
Well, you can't get everything you want. It's good to want things.
Their promo to start the show, AJ Styles and Roman Reigns' promo to start the show, along with AJ finally using the chair on Roman, was good, but that was not the lasting impression coming out of Monday's show. So if that's supposed to be the main event, the big match at Extreme Rules on Sunday, David, how would you explain the overall booking of the show from the beginning of hour 1 to the end of hour 3? And did it do what it needed to do, which is to excite you for Extreme Rules Sunday?
I think it was like Benjamin Buttons.
I'm sorry?
It went backwards.
Mindy and Buttons?
Benjamin.
I don't know.
You know the movie with Brad Pitt, I think it was?
I'm not familiar.
Where he was born an old man and shrunk to a kid.
That was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
No, it was completely a different scenario. But I think they booked the show backwards. Because they got the kids to watch the first hour and a half, 2 hours. Wrestling is now booked for 7 to 12-year-olds, not for us.
But usually, and I don't disagree with that, but usually a go-home show going into a pay-per-view leaves you with that big match they're trying to push at the pay-per-view. I don't think this did that.
But they're not trying to sell pay-per-views anymore.
They're not. That's a good point.
So they don't have to.
But they still want the subscriptions and people to get engaged and excited and view and tune into the show, right?
Okay. Most people, when they order the network, it's on autopilot. Every month it just renews. You have to do a lot of work to go in there and cancel it.
Do you? You've canceled?
No, I have not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But all of a sudden,
start checking those expense reports again.
There's times I'm like, wait, I ordered that? It's on auto renew?
Girls Gone Wild.
Well, but that's a different scenario.
It ends differently.
Those are
yes.
classics.
We didn't talk about. It wasn't. Well, who was the Girls Gone Wild guy? It wasn't Mark Cuban, was it?
No.
Similar. We never. We
not
didn't
even
mention
close
him
to
on the Double D.
Tony Bunacore.
That's his name?
Yes.
You know that.
I do.
That's fantastic. But, I will say, regardless of the booking of Raw, there were several highlights on the show last week, this past Monday night. Big Cass, first of all.
Yes.
Standing tall as a temporary single star with the injury to Enzo, and he got a pinfall win over
Is
Devon
Enzo Marty
Dudley.
Jannetty?
I'm not sure you can say that at this time.
Okay, Jim Neidhart?
He's injured.
But if he doesn't get back soon and Big Cass gets momentum, it's kind of hard to put him back on the tag team.
I'm not sure if Big Cass can maintain that momentum singularly.
Does Big Cass remind you of Test?
Just a wee bit. Wouldn't have thought about that, but just a wee bit.
You know?
It was. You made this point a couple of weeks back about the star power and the significance of the Dudleys and getting a win over them. And clearly their role in WWE is clear,
Yes.
are the Dudleys, and that's to help and build the tag team division.
Elevate new talents. The same
And
way
they
the Road
did so this
Warriors
past
did
Monday
when
night.
They left. Yes.
So Big Cass, shall he stand alone? Will he be able to sustain this as a singles competitor, or is...
You know what? He needs... I think he is a great entertainer. I think he's a great worker. He's not a good wrestler.
Really?
When you're that big,
He's
you
a
can't
big
be a
guy.
good wrestler. And what you have
you
to
mean good
hope,
big guy.
what you have to hope is that once he gets past the entrance, that he can sustain. He can't have the same match every week.
Match was short, too, I think.
It has to be.
This past Monday night. Zayn.
Why? His career at NXT has been a tag team.
Yeah.
So it's hard to transition from tag team to now taking the whole load as a singles guy.
Here's what's good, though, and I think it shows their commitment, is even with Enzo injured, they're still using Cass to project and
they have
to keep the storyline going forward.
Because he's over.
Yeah.
That whole soft gimmick, it works.
SAWFT.
Yeah.
Soft. The four-way, the tag team match, rather, surrounding the Intercontinental Championship, I thought was great as well. Sami Zayn, who's, of course, endorsed, teaming with Kevin Owens, going up against The Miz and Cesaro. Miz also endorsed. Now, great competitors, and it's weird that The Miz is wrapped up in the middle of all this, but I don't think it would be as good if he weren't.
It is 3 Ring of Honor guys in The Miz.
Yeah. Who made the point that he's been in WWE for 11 years. He's headlined WrestleMania. He's been the WWE champion. He's held the Intercontinental Championship on multiple occasions.
I hate to say it, but The Miz is a Hall of Famer.
Yes. Why do you hate to say it? I thought it when I
Because-
endorsed him before he won his first WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
When you think of The Miz, you don't think of him having a Hall of Fame
Why?
career.
Because he had a cardboard belt in the real world?
But when you look at his body of work, it's pretty freaking
Oh,
solid.
so it's back to being small again.
I didn't say he was small.
He said if you look at his body, it's back to being small
I said
again.
the body of work, his career has been pretty significant. He's won every title there is to win, with the exception of the women's.
Because he said, why are you saying this with such realization, such surprise? Because back in 2011,
called an
when I
epiphany.
endorsed him,
Yeah.
all of this should have been clear to you. Next is going to be Sami Zayn. Now you are Mark. You are a fan of Kevin Owens now.
I do. I never thought I'd be a Kevin Owens guy.
You hated everything Kevin Owens stood for when he started in the program,
I did.
in the company rather, and now you have turned that leaf. Why?
Because he is, every week he's solid. He's dependable. He goes out there. He creates something. He works hard. He can talk. He's an antagonist. He cheats.
And you believe it,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah,
You
I like him,
believe
but
it.
I hate him.
Love to hate.
But I hate the character, but I like who he is. I like what he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough, folks. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we've got comments that you shared with us this past week regarding our shows. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, folks, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday. Are you lost? You okay? I know you've been having some challenges lately.
Sheets are just
numbered by page. Yeah, that's from a different taping. So that's not relevant right now. You need like a file folder or something over there.
I do.
Like a Rolodex. You can just roll from segment to segment.
Yeah. Well, if my gimmick here was working, I could read along.
Well, mine is, so I will. Last week on our broadcast, we discussed the new era of WWE stars, and we got some reaction on Twitter, David Hero, specifically to you, and a person by the name of Warren Carmier.
He's French.
That's an assumption. He, on Twitter, reached out to you and asked a question, David Hero, and I quote, "Do you have faith in the new generation of stars?" To which you answered, "Yes. They need to loosen the creative leash." What do you mean by that?
Well, because you have guys like a Baron Corbin, you have Big Cass, you have Cesaro, you have Sami Zayn, you have
the endorsed Sami Zayn
young core group of guys. But even with the Dean Ambroses and the Rollinses and the Reigns, the problem is that all their stuff is so scripted. It's so robotic. Their
promos?
Yes, they're given a legit script to read off of.
You would say that about Ambrose?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
Works for him, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, because he can memorize everything. But, I mean, what was so great about other eras and generations, and even Gene Okerlund can tell you this, they would just ad-lib. You don't have that now.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, too, though.
It shows because you can't feel the emotion.
But keep in mind, too, though, and they can work around this, but there's much more live TV now than there was back in the days before scripted promos.
I get that, but it's also, but they're not going to have, like, the Slickster with his Yardbird video and stuff in there. You know what I mean?
That would never air in today's world.
No, of course not.
The tweets would be amazing.
Yeah, or grab them cakes with Junkyard Dog. That stuff isn't going to air today.
Absolutely not. But speaking of you and Twitter, David Hero, we talked a little about this on the Double D podcast yesterday. You seem to launch your own version of what you are deeming the Monday Night Wars on Twitter, engaging in some pretty intense dialogue with some fans.
Hold on, pump the brakes. I am not intense.
This is not a car.
I'm honest. I'm insightful. I give my opinion. It's authentic. I don't beat anybody up.
I never said you did.
Insult people.
That's not what intensity means. Intense means that there was some feeling, some emotion, some drama, some attachment to it.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of those engagements that you had this past Monday on Twitter.
To my, what do you call it? My marriage counselor. Stop that.
It seemingly all started this past Monday night, your little Monday Night Wars.
Well, it's been going on longer, but there's more idiots now out there.
You sent out a tweet and declaring that, and I quote, "At the end of the day, it is up to the fans to get behind a talent and elevate them.
Yep.
The more you cheer, you boo, and buy merch is what elevates."
Absolutely right. It's true.
They haven't gotten behind Reigns, and it worked, and he's being pushed, if you will.
Roman Reigns sells a lot of merchandise. He does. A lot of kids buy his stuff. Women buy his stuff.
Well, your new best friend, Jacob Larson, on Twitter.
Oh, you too much.
Said, and I quote, "Didn't know that buying a certain wrestler's merch would sway opinions on which guys get pushed." To which you responded, "Well, now you do. End of day, you push what draws money and sells tickets." But it didn't stop there, David Hero. You and Jacob continued your little Monday Night War, and he continued to prod you by saying, and I quote, "Come on now, people are booing Cena and Reigns on a consistent basis to where they're being paired with The Rock to get a quote-unquote pop," which then prompted you, David Hero, to say,
well, hold on, but am I wrong in the stuff I'm saying?
"I'm not here to determine right or wrong. I'm here to report and let you decide."
Yes.
And I quote, you said, "Cena and Reigns sell the most merchandise. Again, it's about the bottom line. Money, 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 money." Now, this is not new reasoning from you or from this show. So explain again to the masses what being quote-unquote over means and what draws in today's wrestling world.
When you're over with the audience, it's because the audience wants to look like you, be like you, act like you. Okay?
I get it.
Right. So, like, there's a large audience that is into Kevin Steen and Bray Wyatt.
Kevin Owens?
Yes. And if you look at them, they look like them.
You've made that point.
And it's true. Okay? A lot of them look like Dean Ambrose. Disheveled.
Let's clean up this dialogue a little bit. When you say look like, you mean relate to.
Yeah, and I've said this before, even like when wrestling was ridiculously white hot in the Attitude Era, and it was The Rock, and it was Steve Austin, and it was Taker and Mankind. At Halloween, I couldn't dress up like The Rock or Steve Austin. I had to go.
Take a lot of splaining.
I had to go with the sweatpants, the flannel, and the Cactus Jack shirt. Okay? Because I know.
You related.
I relate. I looked more like him than anybody else. You know what I mean? So that's why I feel a lot of the fans don't like Roman Reigns, because let's face it, he's a good-looking guy. Women like him. Kids think he's cool.
He's endorsed.
He's endorsed by you. And yeah, I mean, John Cena, the same thing. John Cena's a megastar. And no one has sold more
hosting the
merch than him.
ESPYs, have you heard?
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently he sucks. You know, so yeah. You know? I mean, see, that's why there's a lot of wrestling fans, I hate to say it, they're just dumb. They really are, because they don't see the bigger picture. Kevin Owens is getting a hell of a run.
He has got a tremendous run in that.
Bray Wyatt, if all those guys weren't getting hurt, he'd be having a hell of a run. And just because they don't win all the time doesn't mean anything.
Wins and losses don't matter.
Not for some guys.
Who does it matter for?
The guys that they got to try to build.
Because they need those wins for credibility.
To build them up.
But once you get to that level, you've attained that credibility. Do you ever lose it?
Look at Roddy Piper. How many times did he beat Hulk Hogan?
How many championships did he win? World championships?
He was ridiculously over.
Zero.
No, he had the WCW belt for a day, I think.
Did he?
He might have.
I don't think so. He never won a world title. He was Intercontinental Champion for quite a long period of time.
How many times did Savage beat Hogan?
Jeez. Did he?
Never.
Yeah.
Okay. Great careers.
So it's almost a categorization of star level.
No, it's because we live in a society where if you get 9th place, you get a frickin' ribbon. And everyone wants a ribbon for 9th place.
I feel like for a moment I'm sitting next to George Carlin. He had a whole bit about that.
Well,
everybody's got to win.
Yeah.
No, sometimes, Bobby, you just lost.
Yeah, you just lose. And you learn from it.
What does 10th place get?
Look at the Brooklyn Brawler.
Cookie?
He had a great career, 30-plus year
Lombardi.
career.
Mm-hmm.
How many matches did he win?
He won a couple. He had a run there.
Right,
2 or 3.
But you know what I mean?
Over squash match jobbers on Challenger Superstars. Well, you summed it up, though, David Hero, by asking a question or making a statement which I think really should go further than maybe it did. And you said, and I quote, when people, maybe you should read this. Why don't you share this? Because it was your words.
It's better if you... I can't say it seriously.
You can type it, but you can't say it?
Because I'll start to laugh. I don't want to laugh. I want to be as professional as I can.
And I quote, when people need to swear at me to get their point across and insult me, I know it's a battle versus a mental midget.
Yeah, mental midgets. And that's nothing against short people. That's just ones that don't think things through.
Thank you for your comments. Be sure to keep them coming right here on YouTube. YouTube? What the heck is YouTube? On YouTube. So meanwhile, let's find out what we have in store for you this week on the rest of the broadcast from the Pro Wrestling Report. What's coming up on primetime tomorrow? Julie, take it away.
Be a part of Feedback Friday by commenting on our videos right here on YouTube. Also be sure to interact with PWR on our social media channels. Follow at PWR Show on Twitter and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PWR Show. We will see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock p.m. on Primetime TV with Be the Booker, all the hot news from WWE, TNA, ROH, and NXT, along with DWHS and more on My 24 Milwaukee, YouTube, Fight TV, and PWRShow.com.